right, let's welcome in Coach Michael Sanford, who's kind enough to join us right now on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network as we get set for Week 0 in the college football season. Coach, always appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you doing, man? It's a great-looking throwback Patriots hat right there.
Yeah, no, I love Pat the Patriot and this whole logo and everything from way back in the day when I wasn't even alive. But listener Daryl sent it to me, so it's definitely a hat that I love rocking on the show. So I was just talking about it. Iowa State and Kansas State, I think it's a perfect start to the college football season. You look at the Big 12, a lot of people are going to tell me this is Arizona State's conference to lose, but there's a lot of other really good teams in the Big 12, and you got Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson to start things off in Week 0. I'm all in because I think those are two of the more underappreciated quarterbacks probably in college football.
Yeah, Rocco Becht's the guy that I'm really excited to watch play this year. He played clean football down the stretch for Matt Campbell, and shocked to see that the Iowa State Cyclones are underdogs in this spot. At least the last time I checked it, it was around 2-point dogs for the Clones. I think Rocco's got the full skill set. He's the type of player that he can take off and run. He can move the sticks that way, but judicious with the football, makes great decisions, and just has it. I hate to use that term because sometimes that gets encapsulated in oversimplified, but man, he's just got the ability to make the right decision at the right time for his team. I like Iowa State this year, and there's been a lot of years where I thought Matt Campbell was and had a team that was highly overrated. I think this is going to be a really good team, and I believe it could end up being the class of the Big 12.
You know, you're now getting into this media world. You know, you'll say something 1 month, and then a few months later, it will change. Like when the Alabama quarterback competition started, I said, I want to see the youngster in Keelan Russell. And then as the summer did go on, I go, man, Ty Simpson could be really damn good, especially with Ryan Williams. And, hey, it also helps when you have arguably the best defense in the country. So I look at Ty Simpson this year. What are your expectations for him? Because now, a few months ago, I wasn't taking the bait. Now I'm taking the bait, and I think he's going to be really special.
I sure hope so. I'm a guy that was a Northerner, a Yankee, coaching down in the South at Western Kentucky, and man, it's tough if you don't start off on the right foot. Like frankly, Kalen DeBoer did not. He didn't start off on the right foot. I do have my questions. So, I certainly for friends of mine that are on that staff down there, I'm rooting for them, but. For whatever reason, I just am not buying stock right now in an SEC that is just absolutely ridiculously cutthroat. If you're not from it and you haven't cut your teeth in that league as a coach, that's one thing. Now, Ty Simpson, I think there's some positives to him as a player, but a lot of unknowns. And frankly, that's how I feel about a lot of the big name, high profile quarterbacks in this college class is that there's a lot of unknowns. You know, how is Garrett Nussmeier going to perform in real big spots? He wasn't really asked to perform in massive spots a year ago that were relevant at the end of the season. I think he's a really good player. I'm very, very unconvinced right now, and call me crazy, on Arch Manning. Like, what have you done as a passer when it matters? You're a good athlete. You come from great bloodlines. You're an awesome young man. Everything adds up. But to me, there are quite a few unknowns in this particular quarterback group. And that's why any NFL fans out there, I don't know that this is the right year to suck or tank it for a particular quarterback.
And also, you don't get a soft landing spot for I know it's not his first start, but your first season as the full starting quarterback at Texas. You have Arch Manning going up against another guy there's a lot of intrigue about in Julian Sayin. It's throw Arch and Julian right into the deep end. It's going to be fun coming up next week.
No, it sure will. Julian Sayin's so his high school head coach was my high school offensive coordinator about 30 years ago. So I know a lot about Julian. Julian's a guy that has the ability to command any offense that he runs and is a very, very clean passer of the football. But it's a different set of expectations, certainly at that level. So it's going to be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I'm also curious about Georgia this year because, right, they were the next Alabama, back-to-back national championships. And then the last 2 years, like, they haven't been bad, but they haven't won the national title. And Gunnar Stockton, right, got in at the end of the season after the injury to Carson Beck. They lost that playoff game to Notre Dame coming off a bye. Is Georgia your pick in the SEC, or are you going elsewhere?
Oh, man, I think it's going to be Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, he gave the optics and the feel of the quarterback that is going to be the tough guy in a Kirby Smart run football team. You almost need an overachiever, tough guy at the position. It's any like massively heralded Georgia quarterback just seems to not materialize. And that actually predates Kirby. It just seems like whenever there's somebody that's allegedly the next big thing. I remember Aaron Murray. There's been countless quarterbacks at Georgia that you thought were going to be the guy. And who's the greatest quarterback probably in recent Georgia history?
Stetson Bennett.
Amen. And so Gunnar Stockton to me feels the same way, that he's tough. He's going to move the sticks, and because of the talent pool that is on the defensive side of the ball for any Kirby Smart team, I think that he's going to be more than enough. He's a guy that last year I was all in on. Just they just fell a little bit short, and it was wild to watch him just physically run the football. I like that aspect of his game.
I've been extremely critical of this coach the last 3 years because he built up this program. He built up such a standard. And the last few years, he didn't always win the ACC, right? We saw Florida State. We saw Pitt win it. He won it last year. But Clemson hasn't been a national championship contender the last 3 years. This year, I think they are one of, if not the best team in the country. And I did my top 10 coaches rankings the other day. I put Dabo back in the number 1 spot. Are you buying in on Clemson this year with all the high expectations?
I am. And I actually like the fact that Dabo, for the most part, stuck to his guns about let's not run this Clemson football program entirely different than how we've run our program for the last 10, 15 years that yielded national championships. He stuck to his guns about player development. For me, a guy that grew up in the coaching profession, namely the college coaching profession, I tip my cap to a guy like Dabo that even in spite of all of the national narratives surrounding like you're archaic, you're left in 2010, you'll never do it again. He stuck to his guns for the most part. And you know what else he did? He stuck to his quarterback. And that hasn't always been a popular decision, even with Cade Klubnik. I know he was a lot more appealing to a lot of the fan base at Clemson than DJ Uiagalelei, but he's been a really good revelation for that team. I don't know that Cade Klubnik's going to be truly a first-round talent at the quarterback position like a lot of people are saying, but I think he's exactly what the Clemson football team needs at the right time, and I am a believer in Clemson.
It's so funny because last year, all I was told is get ready for this upcoming draft class. And even this time last year, I was told, Carson Beck was going to be great. And we know how that story did pan on out. But this year, when I look at Cade Klubnik, and I've been saying this all throughout the offseason, do I think he has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the country? No. But now in college football, especially in a 12-team format, with how much there's so much turnover on the roster, like Ohio State did not have a great regular season last year, and they were just a very good team, and they won the national championship with a ton of talent. And I think it's just who's going to be the most consistent. Like, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be the most consistent. And that's why I think a lot of people this year look at Cade Klubnik as the guy that's been the most consistent, and that's why they're going to put him as the top quarterback. Like, does a guy like DJ Lagway or Lenore Sellers have a higher ceiling? Yeah. Absolutely. But I think I just know now what I'm going to get from Klubnik night in and night out.
You bring up a great point right there that the national championship game last year came down to two quarterbacks that were really not in the discussion whatsoever about being first-round draft picks or second-round draft picks for that matter. But you know what the two of those guys were? They were tough. Mm-hmm. They were physically tough. They would put their body on the line on a third down. They were net positives in the running game as a QB-driven run type team. And nowadays, when you have the ability to have $25, $30 million rosters, do you need the shiny golden object in the quarterback position to win a national championship? I don't think so. In fact, to your point about Carson Beck, does some of that stuff come with some other baggage that's unintended when you do invest that much money in a superstar quarterback? And so I agree. Cade Klubnik, he fits the mold of a tough guy that will run the rock and he'll lay it on the line, and he's earned the respect from all of his teammates. So I agree with you on that you don't need the best quarterback in the country to win a title or even close to it.
When you look at Carson Beck, right, you had a kid that was all that, right? He was the guy supposed to be a number 1 pick, supposed to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Last year didn't go his way, had injuries. Now he's at Miami. When you have a kid that has suffered adversity like, what would you do? Take me through what Mario Cristobal and his staff is doing right now to get Carson back on track. Back on track. Because I also wonder, it's a little like mental too, probably more so than if he has the physical tools.
Yeah, Zach. I mean, here's the thing. Carson Beck, for me, just as a guy that's coached the quarterback position and been involved with recruiting and evaluating the position. At the college level, I've coached guys like Andrew Luck and Jordan Love at Utah State, and Mike White, who was at Western Kentucky for me, one of the better G5 quarterbacks in the last 15 years. The one thing that I saw with Carson Beck that I just never liked, it's a physical issue. And he's just long in his throwing process. He's got a long, laborious throwing process. And at times I feel like he plays the game as just a bit of a slower twitch athlete. That's hard because, what's the best thing for him to do? It's to get the heck out of the freaking SEC and go to a conference maybe where you can be maybe a millisecond late with the football, or you can have an extra 3 inches on your throwing process and your motion. So yeah, can Carson Beck have a good season this year for Miami? Yeah, he sure can. Is he a guy that I think is going to lead Miami to the promised land? No, they had a much better talent and a much more explosive player last year in Cam Ward. And frankly, they couldn't get really anything accomplished. Certainly beating the Syracuse Orangemen.
I'm the first one to slam James Franklin. Last year, I didn't think they lost that game up against Notre Dame because of James Franklin. It was Drew Allar. That's another guy that I'm told is supposed to be all that. Like, he's a Walmart Josh Allen. Are you in on Penn State this year? Are you in on their quarterback in Drew Allar? One more go at it.
I'm actually in on Drew Allar. I had a chance to cover for my alma mater, Boise State. I was at that Fiesta Bowl game, and I was really curious to just see what makes him tick, what kind of human being he was, and just being boots on the ground at media day and then watching him throw in pregame warmups, watching that game. He's got some very, very elite traits as a pure talent. Has he busted through that glass ceiling yet? Of winning really big games in big spots? No, he hasn't. Can he? Yeah. He's looked young, man. He looks like he reminds me of a young Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. That you're like, gosh, this big, humongous just piece of clay could be so unbelievably good. And it did take a lot of time with Josh Allen. Heck, it took time post-draft for Josh Allen. He never really materialized as a collegiate quarterback to the level that he certainly is at today. Drew Allar is actually from where my eyeballs are at in terms of first quarterback picked in this next draft. Drew Allar is the guy that I'm keeping a very close eye on.
Let me get your thoughts on two programs here and their quarterbacks, because we know a quarterback's best friends, great offensive lineman, and then also a great running back. Last year, Maddox Matson had the best running back in the country in Ashton Genty. Last year, Sam Levitt had the second best running back in Cam Scadaboo. Both those guys now in the NFL, Cam here in the swamps of Jersey and Ashton out in Las Vegas. How do you think Maddox Matson and Sam Levitt will do this year with more thrown on their plate?
Well, first off, Maddox Matson, really impressed with the young man. He's not going to wow you with his physical attributes. He's not, frankly, he's like 5'9.5". So he's a shorter quarterback.
But he's one of those tough SOBs that we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. He's got that. And the reality of Boise State, outside of the trip to Notre Dame, that's a really soft schedule. And that league right now is bad. That is a bad league. The Mountain West Conference, I can't stand on a table and claim that this is a competitive league on any group of 5 scale, to be frank. Sam Levitt, on the other hand, that's another one of these guys that I saw just enough. Like my top 3 favorite quarterbacks going into this season. Number 1 would be Rocco Becht, and I can't wait to see him on Saturday in Dublin. Number 2 would be Sam Levitt. Number 3 would be Drew Allar, and Drew Allar for the potential, right? Drew Allar because of what he can be. Sam Levitt's a creator. He's another tough dude. He's a great runner of the football. He's got great overall just situational feel, field space awareness. I'm buying stock on Sam Levitt, and yes, you're no longer with Cam Scadaboo, but I think Sam Levitt's going to have a heck of a year, and I think Arizona State's going to be a team to contend with. I'd love to see Arizona State, Iowa State at the end of it all.
Last thing that I'll ask you, Mike Sanford, just going back to what you said earlier about the questions and the skepticism that you have with Arch Manning. With all that being said, how do you think you're talking about Arch Manning at the end of this college football season?
Well, that's a great question. Man, I think it's going to be incomplete again. I think that he has enough physical attributes. He's not going to make too many critical errors, but is he going to win games against teams that are as talented as Texas is. That remains to be seen. The trait that we all keep seeing about Arch, which is a great trait, is that he's fast and can run. And he got some of the Cooper Manning receiver chops, but can he really sit in the pocket consistently, diagnose coverages, deliver the football on time, feel comfortable in the pocket in a league that has the pass rush that it does? That it remains to be seen. I actually believe what Archie Manning said, because I think Archie Manning does know best. He's going to need another year. This is a true first-time starter that has really been used almost as a gadget, kind of not really as a true quarterback in the system there. So there's nobody with more pressure on them this year in college football than Arch Manning. It's not even close.
Mike Sanford, coaching at Western Kentucky, also did coach at Colorado. Are you still coaching? What are these plays on Zoom that I see right behind you? You're coaching?
Yeah, so I am the head football coach, also in addition to doing media at Valor Christian High School in Colorado. And that's the alma mater. Our most famous alum is Christian McCaffrey, who recruited to play at Stanford when I was the running back coach there back in 2013. So full circle for me, opening game tomorrow night. A lot of fun.
Well, if Christian's a little busy and you need someone to do like a pump-up speech, I'd be happy to fly out there and do a little pump-up speech and get everyone going. I'd be like a good on-the-line kind of coach and get everyone running gassers. That's what I'd do.
Hey, you should come on out, man. It's televised in 8 states. Our opening game tomorrow down in Colorado Springs on Altitude TV. So I appreciate you, Zach.
Well, stop talking to me. Get back to work. All right, there
he is,
Coach Mike Sanford. We appreciate it, Coach.
Appreciate you.